the sake of tradition, I'm still gonna do a little bit of introduction. There is one thing I love about Mr. Dr. Willie Jolly. There is something you always say whenever you want to begin your speech that you're like, I have only just a minute, just 60 seconds in it. You know,
Ah, let me do it for you so that everybody can get it. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it, I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if
if
I
I
lose
lose
it,
it,
give
hey,
account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. And I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to be on with you, Eddie Murray, Murphy, and to hear with everybody in Denmark that your best is yet to
it's
come.
yet to
It's
come.
time to get going. It's time to get growing. It's time to get living. It's time to get giving. It's time to go to the next level. Welcome, everybody, to our show tonight. I'm sorry we're late. I was sitting in another room waiting, and we had some technical miscue, but we're here now. And for those who were willing to stay on, for those who are willing to stay connected, we got some good stuff for you today. You're going to be blessed by what we give you for your patience and your diligence. One of the things about success is you must not give up too soon. That's one of the keys to success. And for those who stayed around, you're going to get something good as a result of staying around.
Honestly, Dr. Willie Jolly, you never cease to amaze me. Thank you so much for this incredible opportunity you've given to me to have these moments with you here. It has always been a pleasure to always feed from you as a person. You have made an incredible impact in my own life personally that you might not understand the gravity of it. But today I have the opportunity to tell you I am deeply grateful for this very moment. It's a pleasure to have you, Dr. Willie Jolly, in the house.
My pleasure. It's a joy to be here. My joy, my joy. So um, uh, I'm just glad to be able to share whatever I can to help your viewers, your friends, your network there in Denmark, as well as all over the world who might be able to see this video on Facebook. So welcome to everybody. I'm Dr. Willie Jolly, and I am grateful to be the author of a number of best-selling books here in America, and many of them are bestsellers globally. It only takes a minute to change your life. A setback is a set up for a comeback. Turn setbacks into greenbacks. An attitude of excellence. Make love, make money, make it last, which is a book I wrote with my wife of 36 years on how to stay married. And we've been married for 36 years, haven't had an argument in 33 years. And also, I'm the host of the Willie Jolly Wealthy Ways podcast on iHeartRadio, C-Suite Radio, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Apple Podcasts. So I'm just grateful that I get to do what I do, to go around the world. I used to do it physically, get on planes and go to countries all around the world to help people to win more. Now I do it virtually via this platform. And I've been able for the last year to be able to do programs in Dubai and Australia, New Zealand, and all over the world. Now I get to say I've been to Denmark virtually. I hope one day
Fantastic,
I
fantastic.
hope
It's a
to
pleasure to have you
come.
with Dr. Willie Jolly. It's a
My
pleasure to
pleasure.
have you, Dr. Willie Jolly. Honestly, I think we'll just go straight to the few conversation that we have today. Today
Okay.
we're talking about a very interesting topic: how to turn setbacks into comeback. When I first read your book, I was amazed. It was a game changer for me personally. Today a lot of people know you as a Dr. Willie Jolly who moves around the world, spreading the message of love and impartation, changing the organization and people's life all across the globe. But probably it might not be everybody who know a bit of the history of a journey where you're coming from. So before we dive more deeply into the conversation, for today. I want you to quickly just take us a little bit back on a history, how you began.
Sure. So I was a nightclub singer, singing in nightclubs all over the East Coast of America and doing very well. Won the award for Best Jazz Singer in Washington, D.C., Best Entertainer, had many awards. We had a very thriving and very prosperous nightclub act. People would line up at 7 o'clock for the 8 o'clock show, 9 o'clock for the 10 o'clock show. Things were going great. But one night I went in the nightclub. The club owner told us, I want to talk to you after the night show. So I figured it was going great. We were selling out. We were making a lot of money for the club, but it was a small club. And when I went in his office that night, he said, I love you guys. I said, thank you. We made a lot of money since you've been here. I said, thank you. He said, but now I've got to tell you some bad news. I've got to let you go. What? But we're selling out. He said, but we have decided we got to get a better return on investment, ROI. I didn't know what ROI was at that point, but he said, we got to get an ROI, return on investment. And the only way to do that with a full nightclub is to lower the costs. We can't get any more people in here. So what we've decided to do is to lower the cost and try to something new that's filling up nightclubs that's a lot cheaper than live entertainment. We bought a karaoke machine, and that was during the karaoke craze. I was stunned. I was shocked. I was hurt because I'd worked so hard to build their business, to help them make a lot of money, yet I got fired. And I was angry. But I later learned that sometimes a success is a failure who finally gets angry enough to override their fears. And that's what I decided to do, override my fears. And I said, I'm not gonna let anybody else determine my destiny. A friend of mine knew I was at a low point, so he blessed me with two things. He gave me a motivational cassette tape. I never heard a motivational cassette tape. And he gave me a motivational book. Now, the motivational cassette tape was a tape of speakers. And one of the speakers was a guy named Charlie Tremendous Jones, who said, in 5 years, you'll be the same person you are today, except for two things: the people you meet who inspire you, and the books you read that empower you.
Wow.
Wow. And then that book he gave me was a book called Think and Grow Rich. I had never read a book. No, definitely not a motivational book. I'd never read any kind of book from cover to cover. And I sat down and read that book, and it changed my thinking. I listened to that tape, and things started changing. I took a job with the Washington, D.C. public school system as a drug prevention coordinator, talking to little kids about staying away from drugs. And it was during that year I discovered an ability I didn't know I had to use words to communicate. For the little kids, the teachers would say, could you come to my teachers group? And someone there would say, can you come to my church? And someone in the church would say, can you come to my company? We need your kind of message. And it continued to grow. And then Les Brown, who you mentioned earlier, heard about this speaker who was a speaker and a singer. And he invited me to be on tour with him. And that was called the Music and Motivation Tour. It featured Les Brown, Billy Preston, Gladys Knight, the great singer, and me. Because of that tour, I was able to get a little radio show. The radio show got popular, got syndicated across America. One day, a book publisher heard me speak on the radio, called my office and said, have you ever thought about writing a book? I said, no, I never thought about it. He said, let me make you an offer. I said, I just thought about it. First, First book came out called It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life. Now, over 1 million copies worldwide, translated into 8 languages. I recently got the newest translation, Korean. I don't know what it says, but sure doesn't look good. The second book is The Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. It's
Yeah.
been translated into even more languages. You got the paperback version.
Yeah.
Then my book turned setbacks into greenbacks. Then my book, An Attitude of Excellence. Then the marriage book, Make Love, Make Money,
Make
Make It
money.
Last, Make It Last. Chicken Soup for the Soul. One book after another. And then in 1999, I got a call from Toastmasters International saying you've been named one of the top 5 speakers in the world. In 2005, I was inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame. In 2013, I was named one of the top 5 leadership speakers in the world. In 2015, I was named a legend of the speaking industry. And all of that happened, Eddie, because I got fired and replaced by a karaoke machine. I had a setback. And everybody here has had a setback. And if you haven't had one, just keep living because you're going to have one somewhere along the road. But many people, when they have a setback, they allow that setback to stop them. And that's what I want to say today. Don't let it stop you. Let it grow you. Let it propel you to your greater good. And that's what we want to get people to do, the greater good, the greater works, the greater acts, the greater potential and possibilities, that which they were born to do. You know, I love this quote that says, your job is what you're paid to do. Your purpose is what you were born to do, what you were made to do, what you were created to do. So I want to help people get from maybe having a setback in their job or a setback in their life or a setback in their marriage to do the greater good, the greater gift, the greater purpose. So I am grateful. So out of that, I wrote the book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback, and told my story. But I also told stories of other people who had
Yeah.
had setbacks and people who were not celebrities, not maybe famous, but who turned their lives around by turning those setbacks into comebacks. And that's what I've done, Eddie, is to go around the world. And then, of course, many people know me because 2006, I worked with a company called Ford Motor Company, who was having a setback, who had had a setback, and they brought me in to work with them. And they were on the brink of bankruptcy. They were losing millions of dollars every month. And I was able to help them go from losing millions of dollars to making billions of dollars and to being able to reject the government bailout here in America. And then from there, I started working with companies all over the world, Walmart, uh, Johnson and Johnson Dubai, Coca-Cola South Africa, Prudential Malaysia. And so I got to come to Denmark, where we're gonna have to find a way for me to come to
Honestly,
Denmark.
Dr. Willie Jolly, it would be a pleasure to have you.
So that's what this setback is a setup for a comeback has helped people to do. Turn their setbacks into incredible comebacks. And I'm very grateful that I'm able to be here with you today.
Wow, this is incredible. Honestly speaking, I haven't really read the story so deep with the way you explained everything to us this beautiful evening. But my question is that during the looking at all your achievements now and the impact you're making across the globe right now, where all these things that you saw coming during the setback moment, did you see any of these things? The books, the traveling, the impartations, the way you're helping business and everything across the world today?
Eddie, I wish I could tell you I was so smart and erudite and scholarly and futuristic thinking that when I got fired, that I could have seen all the great things. I had no idea that I would have that kind of success in the real, but I did start speaking my goals and dreams in my mind. I remember when I first started speaking, beginning of the 1990s. I went to visit a friend of mine. He said, "You've been fired. What are you going to do now?" And I had started giving these little speeches to kids in schools. And I said something, Eddie, that day that I will never forget. I said, and he kind of thought I was crazy for saying I was going to become a speaker. I said, "I'm going to become a speaker." He said, "A speaker? You think people are going to really pay you to speak? You're talking to these little kids and all, but I mean, you think you're going to make a living doing that?" I said, "Yes." I said, "In fact, within a decade, I'm going to be one of the top speakers in the world." Wow. And he laughed at me. But I spoke it. And that's the power here. Let me tell you something about success. It's voice activated. It's voice activated. You must speak into being what you're expecting to happen. Now, I didn't see the books. I didn't have all of, I just spoke. Maybe I was a little upset. Maybe I was a little angry because he had questioned my capacity. But I spoke it. Within a decade, I'll be one of the top speakers in the world. And 9 years later, I was named one of the top 5 speakers in the world. I did not know there was even an award. I did not know there was a designation. I just made up my mind to speak good into my life, speak good into my future. And that's what I want everybody to do. I want you to start speaking good into your life. Speak good into your family. Speak good into your finances. Speak good. Even when things are going tough and bad, speak good. Keep on speaking good. Think about if you're sick, keep saying, "I'm healthy. I'm getting better and better every day." If you broke, you say, I'm on my way to wealthy. I'm getting closer every day. Speak good, because your success is voice activated. You've got to think it, you've got to speak it, and then you got to go out and do it. But it starts with that process. So I'm encouraging. You know, the Bible says, and everybody might not believe, but the Bible says that God created the world by speaking it. He said, "Let there be light." There was light. And so it's voice activated. And that's the lesson. So I spoke it. I had no idea how it would come to be. Yeah.
Wow. This is incredibly amazing. Like you said before, that if there is anyone who haven't experienced this setback of a thing, definitely you're probably going to experience it in the future.
Yeah.
I want you to speak a word to maybe someone who is having some setback right now, or who might probably going to have it in the future someday. Is what is one thing that you wish that you something what is one thing that you have discovered now, that you have known now, looking at all your achievement, that you wish you knew then, during those days of setback, that you could have do better?
Well, there are a number of things. One, I wish I had known then that I know now. One is the importance of goals. How critically important goals are to your success. I mean, I'd heard about goals. I talked about goals. But at that point, I didn't realize the importance of goals with the S. I just said I had a goal, become one of the top speakers. But I realized you have to have multiple goals, and how critically important they are in your success. You need to have a personal goal. You need to have a health goal. You need to have a wealth goal. You need to have a family goal. You need to have a spiritual goal. You need to have a community goal. The goals in your life will determine the successes in your life. So many people focus so much on just making money that they forget their family, and their family falls apart because they didn't make that a goal. And so, or many people, as the Dalai Lama said, will spend all their time becoming rich and then have to spend all their money buying back their health. Okay. So you need to have a number of goals. So that's one of the things and thank God I did learn it before it was too late. I learned about the importance of having a health goal. I tell people that if health goal is not in your top 2 goals, number three doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
Because if you're sick and unable to enjoy your wealth, then what good is the wealth if you have to spend all your money to regain your health? Then you're back at ground zero. Wouldn't it be better to set a health goal and a wealth goal and a family goal? And so that's what I just learned to do, Eddie. I decided to, that's one of the things I had to learn, but that was one of the things I wish I knew more about. The other one I had to learn about was the fact that it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. Okay, many people will get a goal to make a lot of money, but then they spend a lot of money. So I had to learn how to manage the money, because there'll be good years and bad years in everybody's life. There'll be up times and bad times. There'll be, nobody expected this pandemic, this coronavirus to come upon us, but it did. So what do you do then? Hopefully you prepare for it before it comes. Dig your well before you're thirsty. So a lot of lessons I learned, but I think the most important lesson that I've learned is that the great achievers are lifelong learners. And the great achievers are always investing in their success.
Wow.
I remember a story when I was a new speaker. I was making about $100 a speech. And probably bringing in, I was speaking every day. So let's say I was bringing in $700-800 a week. But I was speaking 1 or 2 times a day, every day. And I kept hearing about a guy who was helping speakers become millionaires. And so I called this guy's office, and they said, yes, he does help people become millionaires. I said, well, okay, great. Well, I wanna come to his conference. They said we have one conference left, and there'll be a fee for it, and there are only a couple seats left. I said, I want one of those seats. And she said, okay. I said, now what's the fee? And I'm thinking she's gonna say $700-800, $1,000. She said $10,000. And I said, what? $10,000? And I want to say, are you crazy, ma'am? But the smarter part of me said, you know what? There's a price for success. And then there's a cost for not being willing to pay the price. There's a price to go to college, to go to law school, to med school. And then there's a cost if you don't pay that price and you stay where you're at another year. Let me tell you something about everybody who's watching, Eddie. Everybody who's watching can make more money, but no one who's watching can make more time. I don't care who you are. You can't make more time. There are 24 hours in a day, 1,440 minutes. You cannot make one more minute. So you got to make the most of every minute. That I only have a minute, 60 seconds in it. So you got to make the most of every minute. And I realized at that moment, I said to that lady, ma'am, I'm coming. And I went out and I borrowed the money. And I went to that seminar. And when I finished, I went home and quickly made $100,000.
Wow.
Paid that loan back. And the next year, I wrote a check for me and my wife for $20,000. I wrote the check because I could afford it. Wow. And I did that for a number of years, even when he went up to $15,000. And I took me and my wife for $30,000. I'd write a check. And I realized you got to invest in yourself. You got to be a lifelong learner. You got to set goals. So let me tell you a couple of things I want to do, because I know we only got a few minutes left. Is one, I want to give all your viewers access to that book that changed my life, Think and Grow Rich. If you go to wjwow.com, wjwow.com, you can get access to a download virtual digital copy of that book, as well as some of the audios from my radio show here in America with some of the great thinkers I've interviewed. So wjwow.com. If you want to say, I want to learn how to set goals, I need help, and you haven't set goals that change your life, but you want to do that, then if you go to williejolly.com/goals, williejolly.com/goals, you can sign up for a goal setting class. It's a small investment and it will change your life. And if you want to grow yourself, you say, I'm ready to grow myself to the next level. And I want some of your books. I want some of your resources. I want some of the things that you've helped others become multimillionaires and success stories. Then you can get you can get my products digitally sent to you in a digital form. You can get them immediately. And that's at williejolly.com/success. WILLIEJOLLEY.com/success. My goal is to help as many people as I can to turn their lives around for the better, to do the better, the greater, the more wonderful good in their lives. Bad stuff does not, and bad people do not take a break. They don't stop to sleep. They keep going. And I say good people and good stuff has to not take a break either. We must continue to push it out. So I know it's 10, it's 11 o'clock your time.
Yeah,
but
almost now.
But I just want to make sure you know that this is for the winners. This is for the achievers. This is for the people who have made up their mind that this time of difficulty, these setbacks are nothing but a setup for a greater comeback, and that the best is yet to come.
Absolutely, absolutely. Honestly, Mr. Dr. Jolly, before I quickly let you go, because I know we've really taken so much time now. Actually, this is really pretty absolutely impressive. Honestly speaking, I just want to ask, if you were to start, let's say for instance, assume all over again from the scratch, what are some of the habits and attitude you equip yourself with?
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
If, for instance, you were to start all over, like now, starting from the scratch, if you were to start from the scratch, no books, no events, no speaking, no title, no award, nothing at all, what are some of the attitude and habits that you will equip yourself with?
Oh, that's good. That's a good question, Eddie. And that's actually easy. I call them the you gottas. What are the you gottas you got to do to be a success? And I know these things now. If let's say I was talking to Willie Jolly 30 years ago, 30-year younger Willie Jolly, here's what I would say to him. Okay, here's what you got to do, Willie. Number one, you got to work on yourself. You got to develop yourself. Just like going to the gym, you want to get bigger muscles, you got to press weights. And you start with the 10 pound, and then 20, and then 30. You got to work on yourself. You got to develop your thinking. The only difference between those who win and those who don't is their thinking. It's their thinking. So you got to work on your thinking. You got to. Next thing you got to do, you got to get some mentors. 2 ways to any goal: mentors and mistakes. Both will get you there. One gets you there with less headaches, heartaches, and knots upside your head. So get some mentors. Get some mentors who can teach you what to do. So then set some powerful goals. Go through the process. Set the goals. Make a commitment to set big, bold goals. Most people don't set goals for 1 or 2 reasons. They don't know how, or they don't want to do the work. It's hard work. It's not easy. So set some goals. Get some mentors to help you set the goals. And then develop yourself. And then outwork everybody. And have a spirit of excellence. If they pay you $1, give them $2 worth of work. If they tell you to be there at 9 o'clock, be there a little early. If they tell you to stay at 5 o'clock, stay a little late. Always go the extra mile. Why? Because there's no traffic jam on the extra mile. Wow. Not many people go the extra mile. Only a few folks go the extra mile. So I'm encouraging everybody to go the extra mile. Fight for it. Believe in it. Be encouraged by it. And I would say that to my young friends. I'd say that to my young self, that you gotta do this. These are the you gottas. Work on yourself. Set goals. Get mentors and outwork everybody. Outwork them, outwork them, outwork them, outwork them, outwork them. Make up your mind, no one's going to outwork you. You do that, Willie, you're going to be successful. And once you start making money, then you got to have a formula for wealth. Take a dime. The first dime of that money, of every dollar, you tithe it. You give it to your church or your wherever you are being blessed. Second dime of that money, you save it. The third dime, you invest it. And then you learn to live on 70 cents out of every dollar. Live below your means. You do that, Willie, you're going to one day wake up after doing that over and over again, time and time again, year after year. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to have a pot full of money in your savings. You're going to have all sorts of investments. I don't say this to brag, but somebody asked me, and they saw my car. I have a Tesla. And they said, how did you buy that Tesla? I said, I invested in Tesla stock years ago. And one day it rose.
Yeah.
And I took that money and bought a Tesla. So just do these things. And look, please, y'all go get the free resources. Go to wjwow.com and get all those free resources. Wow. And then invest in yourself. Go to williejolly.com/goals and invest in getting the goal setting class. And lastly, invest in yourself a little more by going to williejolly.com/success and getting the digital products. Do it now. Don't delay. Don't hesitate. Don't talk yourself out of it. Do it now. Wow. Go make it happen and live your dreams.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Willie Jolly, for your time. I really, really appreciate this moment. Your wisdom.
I got to tell you the last story, Eddie. I got to tell you that last story, Eddie, because you brought it up. You said what you heard that inspired you.
Yeah.
The best is yet to come.
Yeah.
I got to tell you how that came to be. I was a new speaker. I had no books, no tapes, no television, no radio, had no credentials to be a speaker. I was struggling to keep the lights on, struggling to keep the phones on. It was tough. I'd make sales calls. Hello, I'm trying to sell a speech. They say, I don't know who you are. Hang up the phone in my face. I was rejected. No one likes rejection, do you? Nobody likes rejection. It hurt. So, I wouldn't make any more calls that day because I was discouraged. It take me a couple of days sometime to get myself together again. Well, after a couple of days, I got on that phone again, and the first guy I talked to said, I like the way you're talking. I like your energy. I'm having a meeting. I think you'd be great for our company. We're going to have the meeting. He told me where it was going to be. I said, I'd like to do that. He said, okay, great. He said, we're going to fly you down to Florida. I'm going to pay you X amount of money. I said, wow, that's great. More than I would have even charged. And he said, you'll fly you to Florida and you'll speak. I flew to Florida. I spoke. They got excited. They were fired up. They were fired up. They were fired up. I finished speaking. They gave me a standing ovation, and then they gave me my check. I was ecstatic. I made the money. I put the check in my pocket, finished meeting, greeting people. Went on to the airport feeling good. Got on that plane feeling good. Plane took off. I'm feeling good. I pulled the check out a second time, Eddie, and then I got depressed because that money was already gone. I owed the water company, the electric company. I owed everybody. And I started having a pity party with myself right there in B22. An older gentleman across the aisle struck up a conversation with me. He told me he was a minister. He lectured every day in a different city about health and wealth. I said, you speak every day? He said, yes. I said, you fly every day? He said, yes. We spoke for a few more minutes. Then he asked me a question that changed the trajectory of my life. He said, young man, how old do you think I am? I looked him up and down. I said, sir, I think you're about maybe 60. He smiled. He took off his glasses. He said, young man, I'm 88 years old. I'm 88, and my best is yet to come. In that moment, everything shifted in my head. If an 88-year-old man could have the optimism to believe that his best days were in front of him and not behind him, what did I have to whine and cry and complain about? And I went home with a new attitude. And I got on that phone and started making sales calls. And if people say no, I'd say next. They say, I'm not interested in what you got. I say, you're not the right one. Well, 25, 30 years now have gone by. I've been inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame. I've been named one of the top 5 speakers in the world. I got best-selling books, television and radio. I've been speaking all over the world, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. And so, Eddie, I want to say to you and all the people in Denmark and all the people on this line and all the people around the world who might see this, I want to say to you without a question in my mind that your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. You have only just a minute. Only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, you can't refuse. You didn't seek it. You didn't choose it. It's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it. Give account if you abuse. Just a tiny little minute. But your eternity are wrapped up in it. All right. It's been a privilege, a pleasure, a treat, a treasure, a joy beyond measure for me to be with you today, Eddie. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for reaching out to me. I appreciate you. I can't wait to come to Denmark.
Honestly, I can't wait to have you. Thank you so much, Dr. Willie Jolly. I really appreciate this moment. I really deeply appreciate this. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this broadcast this evening. I really appreciate it. I hope we should be able to make use of every wisdom that Dr. Willie Jolly have shared with us this beautiful evening. I look forward to hook up with us again on my next broadcast. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day ahead. Thank you so much, Dr. Willie Jolly. I really appreciate it. Have a good evening and stay blessed, sir. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Eddie. God bless you, buddy.
Thank you so much, sir.